What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bizzy Bree's Hot Topics. I hope everybody's been having a great day so far. I brought both my girls on this show. I've got the beautiful Lovey D.
Hello, what's up, what's up?
And the lovely Jen for Real 100.
Hey.
All right, you guys. So today we are going to have a great topic. We're going to be talking about marriage and today's role changes. And I don't know about y'all, but every time I turn on social media, all I hear about is marriage, the 50-50 culture, this and that. So I decided to go ahead and do a show and talk about it. You guys down?
As we should.
All right.
Is.
And we've all been married before.
Have. Will.
And by the way, we're going to have a special guest as well. So we will actually have a male perspective coming on a little later in the show as well. So
absolutely.
It's not just going to be the ladies. We'll actually have a man on as well, and he'll give his perspective. So I'm sure everybody will want to hear about that.
All right.
Apologizing in advance.
Yes, apologize in advance.
All right, you guys. So we're just going to go ahead and get right on in. I'm just going to dive in and say right now that my personal opinion on marriage is there is no one situation. Everybody comes from different cultures, countries, ethnicities, just wherever. And we all grew up seeing different ways of marriage. Our parents had their structures, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm sure my structure, as we already know, because we discussed it in the parenting show,
yes,
was different than Lovey's. And Jen may have seen something different. And this person over here. So I got this idea in talking to Jennifer 100, and she was talking about people now are talking about going in 50-50. Jen, go ahead and explain what you've been seeing on social media and what people are now doing in regards to the 50-50 marriage. Do you agree with this concept, and what your thoughts are on that?
Okay, thank you, Bizzy Brea. So yeah, let's talk about this social media phenomenon, frenzy that's going on. So it's been different views. It's like men, women attacking each other. You know, we got the podcast boys, which this is where a lot of this came from. And then, you know, we got the podcast girls going on. So podcast boys, they're belonging to this 50-50. Women are not submitting and all this nonsense to me. May not be to other people. So, you know, they're saying that women need to go 50-50. If you're not going 50-50, then you're not having open expectations, and you're doing too much, wanting a man to do this and that. And my feelings are, men want to talk about why we don't submit. We don't submit. Okay, they're alpha males. Well, if you're an alpha male, then why do you need me to go 50-50?
Right.
Especially if I have to work 40 hours a week, like you have to work 40 hours a week, but then you want me to come home and be the traditional wife, do laundry, take care of the kids, cook, have sex every night. You want me to do all that, but I have to pay 50-50? No, sir. You want me to fully commit, then you need to be the provider, the protector, you know, and I shouldn't have to do nothing if I don't want to. I shouldn't have to work a job if I don't want to. I should not have to pay not one single bill. I should have the option. Do I want to work or not? And then I will be the traditional housewife that you want. But this is a new day and age, and it takes two to run a household, unless you these what you call an alpha male making six figures, which the ones that's talking in the podcast are not making that. Then I need y'all to sit down and be quiet.
Well,
amen.
Preach on, sister. For real 100.
So Jen, are you saying that you would be okay being a traditional wife or partner if they were willing to do the total financial side?
Yes. Have no problem all day. Then what's my role? If the man is taking care of everything financially, then my role is that's my role. I'm going to take care of everything in the house. When he gets home, he's going to have a hot meal, and he shouldn't have to do anything but kick his feet up, because I'm home all day being taken care of.
Right, right. Now, what about the passport? What is it called? The passport brothers or whatever that are going that have caused a little bit. Well, now that they have a little bit different stance on that, right? Because they believe in the woman obviously being a maid and a cook and all the traditional ways. So are they all responsible financially and saying the same thing, that not the 50-50 culture then? Because I'm sure they don't want to go to the Dominican Republic grab that girl because, and then think that she's supposed to come over here, get a job, and go 50-50, right? I think that their stance is a little bit different from what I understand.
Okay, my, let's see, I don't want to say unpopular, but I want to say ghetto. But one side of that, my funny side of that is those men that are broke, those the men that go to countries where the women are in low income situation because of their you know, they not want to say third world countries, but they're in a point where they're used to low income man. So when you go over there making $30,000 a year, this seems like, you know, a lot of money to them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. So you make it 30, 40, 50,000 a year, you're rich to them. Mm-hmm. So you can afford that type of woman. And yes, but in their cultures, on the seriousness side, their cultures, they are taught to submit, but they're taught to submit to their men.
Right.
They're not taught to, because they grew up with their men, so their culture's taught to submit to their men, and their men automatically know they have to take care of their wives. Whereas the Western civilization, United States, aka, they're coming in with that 50-50, and they're mad that we're not submitting to that. So they're like, oh, we going to women that respect us. Yeah, they have no choice but to respect y'all because they see y'all as being rich. Over here, we see y'all as being dusty, sprinkle lady. I ain't say that she did. But I'm just saying, you know, you can't fault us because you're doing the bare minimum. You want us to celebrate you doing the bare minimum, but you go to another country, you're a king doing the bare minimum for them. So it's not apples and apples, you know, it's apples to a Concord.
Mm. But Jen, I can also, even with some of the women here in the U.S., from just what I've noticed, even on social media and personally, some of these women, they give in to that concept of just the sake of having a man. They're okay with doing the 50-50 and still doing the household chores and everything else that come along with it, just because, hey, at least I got a man. As you know, that's some of them say a little bit of man is better than no man at all. Not that I agree with that at all, but it's not just in the third world countries; it's here in the U.S. too.
True that. True.
Those called the pygmies.
Yeah, that's a
pygmy. I don't want to hear.
Pygmy.
So
yeah, they're called the pygmies. Like pick me. I'll do anything just to stay a man.
Yeah.
Now you remember I could do bad by myself concept.
Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is we definitely don't. So what I'm hearing is we don't think it's fair if, say, you're married and both you and your husband are doing the same amount of work. You both work a 9 to 5. Say you have 1 or 2 kids. Mm-hmm. Should the woman be the only one to take care of the kids, cook, clean, do all the household? Because you're both working. No. And you're both bringing in an income, regardless of who's bringing it in. Effort. Yeah, but regardless of who's making the most money or not, because you're both paying the bills. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's the funny part. The men want to do 50-50 when it comes to the finance, but not the household. Mm-hmm. 50-50 finance, but the woman, traditionally, we want you to do the household work, the rearing of the kids, the doing this and that. But 50-50, we need to split the bills. No, 50-50 means we splitting everything.
Right.
So you cook some, I cook some, you do laundry, I make food, you take care of the kids. So let's 50-50 all the way, not 50-50 in what benefits you.
So do we think that it is so a good thing to have broken away from the traditional roles of what it means to, what it was as far as fathers were often seen as the primary breadwinners and disciplinaries in the family, while mothers were primarily responsible for caregiving and nurturing? So since so many women have joined the workforce, that caregiving and nurturing role has become, I don't want to say on the back burner, but they've added to their roles as the woman of the house, as whereas men, I don't want to say all men, because there are a lot of men who are definitely very willing to split the roles as far as making sure that even a lot of men are out there that are still doing more than the 50-50. But you do have some of these women. And I'm going to be, I'm sorry, a little bit of devil's advocate here. There are some women that really feel like I make $10 more an hour than you. So you should be the one that's doing all the household work, even though, yeah, you're working, but I make more money.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And I've seen a lot of that happen. And, you know, both you and Jen and Brea, y'all both may punch me for this one. I don't believe in alpha females. I just don't.
I mean, that's ridiculous because at any time he could get a raise or a promotion and then be making more than you. Well, you guys are going to go back and forth like a tennis match? Like, that's not, that's kind of silly. That's called a petty relationship. And it's almost fact that those relationships
do not work.
tend to not last.
Yeah.
You can't be that petty in a relationship at the end of the day. Women bring something totally different than a man. Mm-hmm. And men bring something totally different. At the end of the day, you need both.
Yes.
Well, you don't need both, I guess, now.
But anyway, that's another whole topic of saying I need and I want.
Sorry, I had to correct myself on that one to be socially correct,
politically correct.
But you know what I mean. If we're talking about the male and the woman perspective, organically, traditionally, yeah, we got to keep going to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here. Yeah, the traditional. That's why I put traditional on it. So, Lovey poses a good point right there. We don't want to be like, well, I make $5 more than you, so you need to do a little bit more extra folding, and you need to be more doing the laundry and the ironing. Like, that's crazy.
And I have heard a lot of women do that. I make more money than him, so he should do more in the house. And again, I think that just came with today's society of I am woman, hear me roar. I don't need a man. I can do it by myself. And, you know, I think that's what led into a lot of...
Okay, if you don't want a man, that's your point. But I want a man.
I need a man. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all can say I'm needy. I need a man. I got a man, too, y'all. Hey.
Right. I'm not signing up for that hashtag.
Hashtag I got a man.
Hashtag I don't need a man.
And on that concept of being alpha female, you know, that's kind of different right now because of, like you said, I ain't gonna say different, but Lovey, it's on point with what you're saying. And it's all because of how things have changed. Women have to work now. It's documented and statistics shows that women are the ones that's getting degrees. A high percentage of women getting degrees over men. And and I was raised that way where don't depend on a man, don't need a man. You know, even though I was married and I was still the submissive. I wasn't the alpha female in my relationship. However, we did do 50-50, and it was 50-50 split down the middle, household and financial. It was 50-50.
So, Jen, did you guys pay, like, split the mortgage, you split the light bill, you split, like, that kind of 50-50, or you paid the water bill, he paid the electric bill?
Oh, yeah, that kind of 50-50, I'm brief. So I guess it wasn't 50-50, but I'm just saying, you know, like, we shared. But no, man, he paid the big bill. He paid the mortgage. Okay. He paid the car notes. I took care of everything else in the household.
Okay. So it wasn't a 50-50. It was, we're going to work together. Yeah, we're going to work together for the household. It wasn't a 50-50.
Yeah.
It's important
that... 30.
Okay. It's important that because it's different for everybody. And then I think it's important to let the audience know too. I know 3 marriages right now and they do phenomenal. The woman goes to work and the man stays home. Yeah. And they're perfectly happy. And they've been together for over 20 years.
It has to come with being secure in your marriage and in your relationship. You have to have that trust, you have to have that security, you have to not make one or the other feel inferior or superior. So you have to be comfortable with that situation to where you can't even let other people on the outside looking in make you feel some kind of way.
Because they're going to judge you.
They're going to judge
you. Well, everybody judges you anyway. If you're breathing and you get a glass of water, you're going to be judged, right? So you didn't breathe right.
Yeah, you didn't swallow right.
You didn't get spring water. You got distilled. Yeah, okay? Everybody has something to say about everything. It's so annoying. Yeah. But
you're right. You're right on that. You know, people they're changing what is traditional to them.
That's right.
So it's not one side traditional as it was during, Leave It to Beaver days. You know, there's not that. Some people are saying, what the hell is Leave It to Beaver?
I love Leave It to Beaver.
Age. I'm saying, depending on the age of the audience, they're like, what's Leave It to Beaver?
Go Google it.
Or Stepford, or what's called the Stepford line. It's different than what that is. Then they want to try to put race into it. But no, because I know a lot of women of different cultures that feel like us or that's in positions where they don't want the 50-50. They're just not as vocal about it on social media. But they have those conversations too. Where there's a lot of alpha females in different cultures because they have to be.
There's a situation too where I know a good friend of mine and her husband lost his job. Mm-hmm. And he's always taking care of her. So she's never really worked, but she has her education. So she went back into the workforce and decided to give him a break. Mm-hmm. And she liked it. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to be around coworkers, going to the office. She likes now, after 10 or 15 years, switching it up, going to the office, making, friends or coworkers. And And then he would take the kids to school, pick them up, cook the meals. And she liked having that switch off. Like I said, you can't judge. Well, you can judge, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It's your opinion.
People are going to do whatever works for their household. That's my point.
And I personally think that's great because it gives them both the opportunity to know what it's like to take care of the kids. I'm going to say switch roles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like that now the husband can stay at home. He can get up with the kids and fix breakfast, do the laundry, make sure the house is clean, prepare dinner, fix the kids' lunches, pick them up for soccer practice. And mom's at work all day grinding it out.
Yeah. So
I think switching the roles is I think it's a great balance for them for us to be able to understand what each other deals with.
Absolutely,
because
you can respect each other in the different roles.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure after that dad did it for about a month, he's gonna be like, I need to get back into the
Yes.
This ain't easy.
Yes.
I had a colleague where she was a high-powered VP in this major corporation that I worked for. And, you know, people would laugh. Like, she has a house, well, the guys would laugh. She has a house husband. But she never made that man feel inferior.
Mm-hmm.
She appreciated everything he did. And he said he didn't care what people thought about him.
Right.
That worked for them and it may not work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still an alpha male, and she let him be an alpha male.
I don't like that term. I don't like that term.
Alpha male?
No.
Yeah.
No. That she let him.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying that she respected him in that way. You know, when I say she let him be the alpha male, I'm just saying she respected. She wasn't like what you were saying. Oh, I make all the money, so she's gonna talk down to him.
Yeah.
But see,
she still let him be the man. She didn't take away his manhood because of that.
There you go. Yeah. That's somebody's character. So there's a lot of things that will happen in your marriage, and you're not supposed to really share a lot with the outside world because when you start listening to other people's opinions, at the end of the day, why are we listening to those opinions? Are they helping you guys pay the bills? Because if they are, then maybe I'm going to listen to you. But if you're not helping me pay not one bill, you didn't cash out me $1 for my gas.
What's the cash out?
Cash out. Okay, Zelle. Whatever. You didn't do anything towards my money. Why would I listen to your opinion?
Right. It's old people who say, what you eat don't make me poop. So...
There. I never heard that one.
Well, they used to have the word.
What was that again?
What you eat doesn't make me poop.
What you eat doesn't make me poop. Ooh, I like that. Okay.
But they used to have
I've never heard that.
They used to have the word.
And on a personal note, there was a time where my ex, the company he worked for, it closed down. So for about 3 months, he didn't work. So I worked. And he became, you know what they say, we was in non-traditional roles, the role switch. I'm not going to say he was a house husband, I didn't call him that. But when I say that was one of the best times in our relationship, he respected what all I did because he took on the duty of doing all the household work. He took care of the kids. When I came home from work, all I did was check their homework. He did the laundry. He cooked, well, just another story why he cooked because his wife don't know how to cook. And she burnt down the kitchen one time, but that's all another story. But anyway, and I never talked down to him. I still was like, I still uplifted him as being the man of the household. I never came out and said, oh, I'm working, I'm doing this. We just had that, we changed, and for a little while, he was ready, like I said, he was ready to get back into that workforce. Number one, because he saw what it took to take care of a household.
Exactly.
Even with the kids going to school all day, it's still work that needs to be done. Even while they're going to school, like, we're not kicking our feet up all day just because the kids are at school. And number two, he was raised in a traditional household where the wife didn't have to work, even though she did work. But she didn't have to. And she didn't pay any bills either.
Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a quick break, Jen. We're going to let you go ahead and get back to that story here in a moment. All right, you guys, we'll be right back. At Top Notch Painting and Home Improvements, we are here to service your commercial and home residential projects. Whether it's a bathroom remodel being built to a 50,000 square foot renovation needing a total rehab, our fully licensed and insured professionals are ready to satisfy your needs. We have been in business in the Michigan and Atlanta, Georgia markets for 20 plus years. Be sure to check us out online to find out more and schedule your quote today at www.therealtopnotch.com. Why mess with the rest when we're clearly the best?
Hey, we are back, and like I was saying, My ex-husband was eager to get back to work because in his mind, because he was raised in that traditional household where his mom didn't have to work if she didn't want to, although she did, but she didn't have to work. My father-in-law paid every single bill. My mother-in-law never saw a bill. When he died, she was like, her daughter took over her checkbook and she was like, I don't know how to pay bills and I don't want to learn. But my ex, he was eager to go back to work because in his mind, he felt less than a man because he was comparing himself to his father. And I understood that. You know, that's why I made sure that I never made him feel a certain way. So he was eager to go back to work and, you know, he did and had a good job, retired from it 20 years later. And, you know, and I was happy to be able to step in that role. And I eagerly stepped into it. And I already told him, I said, you know what? I said, you ain't even got to get another job. I said, because this has been so a blessing to me. I said, you ain't got to work. You ain't got to tell nobody. I ain't had to go home and do nothing. I was like, ooh, I'll work and pay these bills. But he made it. And he made it so easy for me. So I was like, you ain't got to tell nobody.
So, Jan, since you were in that, you guys flipped roles, so to speak, what did you prefer? Did you prefer paying the bills and having him do most of the work in the household? Or did you prefer doing the household work and having him pay the bills? What was more... what spoke to you more?
Now, today I would say the other way, but we got married so young until, you know, both of us like in our 20s, so nobody really wasn't making a lot of money in their 20s. But today I would say I would rather him pay all the bills and I sit home and take care of the kids. I mean, not sit home, but I do the housewife traditional role. But back then, I appreciated that, and I really wanted the roles to change because it was hard. I had 3 boys. Just say 3 boys, all 3 years apart, and they was rambunctious. They were true boys. They were in every sport, and that wore me out when I was working. Oh my God!
Yeah, I totally.
And see, I was raised almost the only child because my brothers were so much older than me. So to me, I had an easy childhood, but he grew up with 6 other siblings. They all were 1-2 years apart, so he could handle it better than I could.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. We, the viewers, listeners, really appreciate it. We actually do have a special guest on right now, so I do want to bring on the special guest. His name is Devon Cooper, filmmaker out of Tennessee, I believe. And we are, you know, we're just not going to be just the women giving this perspective. We are fair. So we want to hear from, you know, a male perspective, point of view. Hi, Devon. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for being on Bizzy Brea. We appreciate it.
Man, I'm appreciating the conversation.
All right. Awesome. So you've been hearing us kind of banter back and forth with our opinions and, you know, the whole marriage today roles and things of that nature. What's your opinion on it? What do you feel is best for a household overall, socially, in your opinion?
I personally believe that everything is done in decency and in order. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I just feel like when you just cancel out everything else, at one point there was a time before children, right? Mm-hmm. So we cancel out children, or you bring the children into the conversation. A man has a responsibility. So I think if you take that natural responsibility from a man, then he loses himself. Whether he naturally, you know, wants that, or he is lazy and don't want to take on the responsibility. If a man is not naturally doing the things that a man is supposed to do, then he don't have a clue who he is as a person.
That's deep. Okay, so let's talk about that. What, in your opinion, is that responsibility for a man? Let's break that down.
I think a man's supposed to be a visionary. He's supposed to be like, one of the sayings that I hear all the time is "happy wife, happy life." I can't stand that saying.
Why can't you stand that saying? What does that mean to you?
Well, my wife is a stay-at-home mother, so my responsibility is to put her in the best position to grow as a woman and to be the best that she can be. So whatever she's trying to be, my job is to make her be the best at it that she'll ever be.
Okay.
So, you know, in other words, I'm setting a bar so that if ever she wasn't with me, another man is going to have a hard time if he don't have the same mindset.
That's deep.
Yeah,
because
I like that.
You know, if you can bring out the best in anybody, you know, I've always learned, like in business or making movies or anything, when you're dealing with actors, you kind of got to manipulate the mind to make somebody even believe in themselves.
Okay, I like that.
So if I can't bring out the best in a significant other, then I'm not doing my job. And so that's even before finances. To me, I don't believe that a real man is looking for a roommate. So I would never go half with a woman on anything. But I know that woman has the mindset that if ever I'm down, she don't mind taking over.
And kind of filling in the slack if something were to happen, or because it takes two to create a beautiful home.
Yeah. So you got different situations and circumstances for people. I heard y'all talking about like the amount of money people make. Okay, it don't matter. I can be with Oprah, but she's still gonna see me as, even before a man, she's gonna see me as somebody who is trying to better her. Mm-hmm. My personality might get me indoors. Her money can't get her in.
Right. Yes.
You know, so you see a man as a fighter, not just physically, but I'm a warrior. I'm creating so that the people around me can also win easier than if I wasn't there.
So I want to talk about that real quick. We always talk about finances in marriage. Why? Because it's more than just finances, you guys. I do understand we can't live like, well, I guess we could live like a Little House on the Prairie, what they say, living off the grid, as you say now, right? But isn't marriage way more than just finances, people?
I think society within itself has made money the top priority in relationships, in life. I think that society, social media has played a big part into, you gotta look like this, you gotta act like that, you gotta drive this kind of car, you gotta carry this kind of bag in order to be significant. And I think a lot of people have put that same pressure on their marriages and on their relationships. We gotta have the bigger car, we gotta have the bigger house, or we're not gonna fit into today's society. And when you put that pressure into a relationship, that's when the contrast and the conflict starts, because the wife may feel like, yeah, my man's making a certain amount of money, but he can't afford to buy me a Louis bag. So I need me a man to buy me a Louis bag. He may be able to buy you a Michael Kors, but she may find that's not sufficient because of society has placed that standard on the finance. They've taken away from, we'll say the traditional, since we're using that term today, they take away from the traditional importance of family and home. They've taken that part out and placed it more on materialistic. So that, me personally, is Lovey D. I think that's where the conflict starts, and then it goes from there. When you place the values of your home on what society is going to approve, then I think that's where the issues start to come from. I think it's not just, can I add something?
I think all categories, like Bree said, even sexually. Mm-hmm. A lot of men that I talk to, friends, their mindset is, I did this and I did that. But what did you do to make sure the opposing side, right, was pleased? Mm-hmm. So the mentality in a relationship is, whether it's finances, physically, emotionally, you have a responsibility to better the other person. Mm-hmm. And the woman and the man can have that mindset. But a man should always be willing to be the first person to be injured if somebody ran in the household.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I truly believe, now this is my opinion, you guys, because I've been very quiet on what I feel. Purposely, I do feel like the man is supposed to be husband, if you break that word down, because Lovey always likes to break down definitions, but a protector, a provider of not only his wife, but the children in the home. Mm-hmm. So that's not just financial. So what does that look like? That looks like emotional. That's also physical, right? Mm-hmm. Do you expect your woman to go to the door if they hear a strange noise at night? It's going to be the man, right?
Should be.
Well, I would hope so. Unless he's not there or he works third shift. But you know what I'm saying? So the man's job is to be a protector and provider. And that has nothing necessarily to do with the financial aspect of it. So I'm so tired. And it's just me personally. Maybe y'all aren't. You guys love it. Okay, great. But me, I'm so tired of seeing, especially in the African American community, how people are always talking about relationships and it always coming down to finances. Mm-hmm. Even with women, always talking about the man having to have a certain amount of money, because to me that's completely ridiculous. Because money, you can't put a tag or you can't put a price on how much a man needs to make to satisfy your marriage, because marriage is not all about finances. Mm-hmm. I have a real problem with that. But that's just me personally.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Because at the end of the day, when you pass away and when you are no longer here on earth, you can't do anything with finances. It's going to be your spiritual soul. It's going to be your emotions. It's going to be you because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. So why are we placing so much emphasis on finances? And that, I'll get off my soapbox, but that's just me. That's just how I feel.
No, I got one more thing to say. Honestly, this is a touchy subject for a lot of people, because everybody had their own opinions. But I hear people say all the time, provider and protector. But I never hear people say preparer. I always say the big P. See, my job is to prepare. And this is what I was kind of getting to at first. My children and everybody around me, including your spouse or significant other, for whatever greatness is coming in their life. See, we talking about finances, but see, most people are not even ready or prepared to even receive the finances that they're dreaming of.
You better preach.
So, like, you know, I'm just being real. You know, I've come from nothing and built to make 6 and 7 figures. I mean, I've seen myself grow, and I watch people that work for me drive better cars than what I have. And they might need me to help them with bills.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so you have somebody work for you, and then you get cool with this woman that's working for you, and now the man that she's with, when she come and ask you for help, and then this man find out she asked you for help, right? What is your conversation with that other man? Because men get in bad situations too. Right. But these men can now trust that, dang, you know, here is not only somebody who my significant other worked for, but he's also younger than me. But he put his pride aside and say, you know, and that's what I tell her. I said, next time y'all get in a tough situation, have him come to me. And that's what's happened. So me and him had a conversation. Guess what? Now he's in a different position, even working for me, because you know that opportunity for him to be in a better situation wasn't there before. But he did feel less of a man, because the mindset naturally is, if I'm going to help her, then we got to have something going on. That's not a real man. Ain't always got that mindset.
That's a good point, Devon. Thank you for bringing that up. So
I love that.
I will just say this too. I even get irritated when people say, you know, you can't. And I'm kind of going to spin this a little bit, you guys, because you know I got to. But I even get upset when people get upset with people, you know, marrying outside of their race, marrying a different culture. We can even, you know, go into the whole, you know, a woman marrying a woman, a man marrying a man. We're going to kind of stick with the traditional roles for now, because that could be another topic, Lovey and Jen, if you guys want to do that. But I will say this. If it works for you and you guys are happy, who cares what anybody else says?
That part.
If your children are emotionally healthy, they're thriving. You guys are thriving. There's no one's putting extra stress on the, you know, say the husband or the wife. And you guys are in synchronicity. What is the problem? Like, there's not a book or a rule book to say you have to do it this way or you have to.
They're out there. They're out there. But again, it's for them to monetize on the situation, because somebody's going to always say, here's a blueprint for a happier life, right? Yeah. So it comes in, again, like you said, Jen said, Devon has said also, it comes with you being comfortable in your situation, your decision making with your partner. So the heck with what anybody else thinks. If it works for you and your household, then let it be. And I think we got to get past that part of being accepted with society standards of what should and should not be when it comes to running your household.
That's right. Because look, we all do know that, like, in the 40s and 30s, 20, 30, 40s, 50s,
60s, 70s,
and whatever. You know, the woman was, you know, in the those sitcoms, they show up in the, you know, the blue flare-out dresses and the heels, and you have a martini waiting for your man at the door, and you have a roast in the oven.
Yes.
The kids are upstairs. Billy and Molly are upstairs doing homework, and she's supposed to look perfectly flawless with her makeup on. Yeah, those days are over.
No, honey, they coming home to bonnets and ramen noodles, okay? A DoorDash.
I will say my grandmother passed away at, I want to say she was 92. I think she was 91, 92. She just recently passed away, maybe 2 years ago. And she was that grandmother, that mother. She had 9 children. And she was the traditional housewife. And my grandpa, you know, he was a lobbyist, and he would bring clients over and entertain and things of that nature. And they had who knows what their challenges were? 9 kids. I'm sure there was stress in the household. But it worked for them, and they stayed married forever and didn't have any outside children. And that was their world.
They didn't have social media then.
They did not have social media. And actually, and you guys, we actually, and unless people were involved in your relationship because of that, we do have to take a quick break. Oh, this is getting heated. Yes. So look, audience, do not go anywhere. Listeners, we are having a very exciting conversation about marriage and the traditional world changes. We'll be right back, and we'll get back to that, Lovey. I want to talk about social media and how that's also affecting marriages.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to Bizzy Brea's Hot Topics. Yay!
All right, you guys, we are back from break. We are discussing social media and how it has affected and changed the institution of marriage. So, Lovey D, what is your opinion on how social media may have an influence on marriage today?
I think it's playing a huge influence on a lot of marriages, relationships, the roles of the household. I think it's playing a huge part because people are so quick to want to, I guess, did they say live like the Joneses? Is that what the term they used to use?
Try to live like the Joneses.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
I never really knew any Joneses, though.
I do, unfortunately. Well, I won't say unfortunately.
I was like, what is Joneses? I don't know any of these Joneses, but hey, apparently a lot of people knew some Joneses.
A lot of Joneses. Joneses.
I knew some, and they were keep trying to.
Oh, honey. But I think that's where it comes from. A lot of people trying to keep up the facade.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in cities like Atlanta. A lot of people want to keep up with the facades of, we gotta have the bigger house, we gotta have the bigger car, we gotta have the fancy bag, we gotta take the fancy trip. And they really can't afford it. And it puts a strain on the marriage, puts a strain on the household. Even though on social media, they're living what looks like the perfect life, they jet setting. And at home, they're struggling.
Yeah.
At home, they can't even stand each other. But I think
But real quick, sorry, Lovey, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Fine.
But why do we care what other people think? Like, I'm confused because
This is the
at the
society
end of the
we got
day,
to.
but those people aren't helping you pay bills. They're not doing anything to sustain you and to help your situation. So why do we care what they think? I'm confused.
I think because people want to be able to be accepted. I think social media has turned it into a society of acceptance.
Acceptance by people you don't know.
People you don't, and that's the thing. People want to do it for likes. I gotta have a lot of likes. I gotta have a lot of views. It'd be people that you never will meet ever in your life, but for the sake of saying I got likes, the sake of saying I got views, and I think that's where again social media has played a huge role in the demolition of marriages, the demolition of families, because it's all about acceptance. I think a lot of it's acceptance.
I mean, so at the end of the day, we try to teach our children not to follow the crowd. But you got grown people who are following the crowd.
Absolutely.
Want to be accepted.
Absolutely.
Want to have that. I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of image. Obviously, right, you're not going to want to connect with people if they have a poor image. Of course, if they have a bad, their household smells, or they've got garbage everywhere, roaches crawling on the Christmas tree.
What a Christmas tree?
I don't know, just popped in my head. I was thinking about those popcorn things that you string up, But you know what I'm saying? So I can understand that and wanting to have a clean house. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the biggest house.
Right.
As long as you have a clean apartment or a clean house or
Healthy
whatever.
household.
But why are we so... See, I feel like your marriage, it will fail if you're so concerned with what everybody is thinking.
And a lot of them are.
And the people who are always taking advice from their single friends, by the way. Okay? So if you're taking advice from your single friends, they're single for a reason.
That part.
You might not want to listen because, let's be honest. If they're single, they might want you to be single.
Exactly. Or they got some envy for your marriage or your relationship.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
go. They want what you have.
So do you think it's important if you're married to have married friends?
Very.
Okay.
Very.
And why do you say that, Lovey?
I just think they're more understanding. I think there can be more of a support system if you're going through a certain situation, because maybe something that they dealt with, or they'll have a better outlook on your situation. I'm not saying that you should take everybody's advice, married or single, but I just think having married friends, like-minded, how they say surround yourself with like-minded people. I think married people, having married friends means you're like-minded when it comes to certain things. Okay,
this question is for Jen for Real 100. So Jen, this question goes for you. Do you think it's important as, in being married, do you think it's important to not divulge a lot of your married life to your friends and to your family?
Yes. I do feel that what happens in your household should stay in your household. Like they say, what happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas. What happens in your household should stay in your household, because once you put it out there, let's say, for instance, the wife or the husband, something happens in the family, like they cheating or something, and then you blab to your family and everything, but you forgive that person. Now your family is still holding on to that grudge. They're looking at your significant other funny, because, oh yeah, she brought all this stuff to us. but now she taking him back. So now they didn't forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
But now you forgave her. Now it's happening in your household, but now they're looking crazy. And that was one thing I always did. And my ex and I, we agreed to that I'm a private person anyway, for unless, when a relationship opening, I might be like, I'm gonna tell the truth. But I believe in keeping your household secret. Like what's happening in your household, keep it in there. I'm not finna tell people stuff. And I believe in that. And like no one has to know what we going through or what we doing. And we're gonna take it to God. We church going, and we took it to the pastor.
Right, and then plus you might be getting counseling, and you both may admit to the pastor or the counselor, hey, we both made mistakes, and now you guys are soaring into a new area of your marriage, but mom and dad are like judging, or sister-in-law, brother-in-law. Now they're judging you guys and giving you advice, and you just need to go ahead and leave him, because if he cheated once, he's going to do it again. If she did this, she's going to do it again. And so people having all this say-so in your marriage is very powerful, energetically not aligning with the progression that you guys have decided to get on. Because you're like, okay, I'm going to stick this out and make this work, because I know there ain't anything else better out there anyways. We don't came this far.
I think a lot of it still comes with, though, when you choose to share what's going on. Sometimes you just need an outlet, because not everybody's willing to go to a counselor or the pastor. And sometimes you do, just in human nature, you just need to release. But like Jen said, so much of, I've never been one of also what happens in the house stays in the house, but that's going to be a story for another day. Because something that happened in the house needs to be told.
If it's important, like say, so that's.
But I know it's a topic for another day.
Good point. And I think what she might be talking about, and I could be wrong, but let me know if what I'm about to say is wrong. I'm thinking you're talking about if you're being abused.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
in that case, yeah. You need to
that. Emotional or physical abuse is never okay. I just want to make sure everybody out there knows that. And it has been documented that if you are being physically or emotionally abused, women or men, because men get abused too.
Honey, they get beat
we
up
only talk about the women, but men can be abused too, because women can be abusive.
Absolutely.
But anyways, if you're being abused, it is important to say something. It is important to say something to somebody, because nobody wants to deal with that. When you have kids in the home as well, it affects those kids. As they get older, they're going to have resentment toward the other parent as well. So you have to say something, whether you're a man or a woman. I just want to preference that, because there are some very abusive women out there as well. Yeah. What's that Lifetime movie?
Honey, I watch them all. I watch them all, but it again, that just goes back to, I understand when Jen says certain things that happen in the house need to stay in the house, but I've never been one to use the term what happens in this house stays in this house, only because that's such a broad statement.
That's true.
And I think everyone should always know. Yeah.
Every little argument you don't need to share.
Yeah, you don't need to be like, oh, he stumped his toe last night and he cussed. He had to go to the emergency room and he blamed me. But if you're, like Jen Brea said, if you're being physically, verbally, or mentally abused, you do need to tell someone. And I watch so much true crime stuff. It needs to be documented, because you don't know what's going to transpire from it. And I hate to sound so nightmare next door, but it happens often. Yeah. So the whole what happened in the house stays in the house needs to not be it is such a broad statement, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's what I want to make.
In that case, if someone's being harmed for when it comes your life is in danger, then you need to tell somebody.
Yeah. So, but again, back to what Brea was initially talking about, social media has made a true impact on how what happened in their house stays in the house, because nothing stays in the house anymore. It's always on social media.
And TikTok. So Jen is going to be doing some series, you guys, on like entertainment, TikTok, and stories and things of that nature. And I want to preference that specific, because she's got some juicy stuff coming up.
Oh, Lord.
Just FYI.
Oh, God.
But people are going on TikTok now and Instagram.
Okay.
Hey, my husband cheated on me. And I have a problem with that. Why are you bringing your personal situation into everybody's bedroom?
They want
into everybody's living room.
They want sympathy and attention.
But here's the thing.
Social media has ruined society.
I'm just saying, I think it's like, well, I'm so mad now. I think there's some rules and regulations now, Jen, though, too, like you can't even show their face anymore, or you can get sued easily. You might want to look at
or say their name, but but we hint to it to where the Facebook investigators, they gonna find out, social media investigators gonna find out, because people always put like some little hint out there. And look, I didn't say his name. You put a hint out there now, because if you totally didn't say somebody's name, you put some kind of hint out there.
And is Black Twitter still a thing? I'm not on Twitter. I know you guys are. Is Black Twitter?
Well, we know Jen knows. I mean, that's why she's entertaining.
Did you hear that? Black Twitter?
Black
Twitter is
I'm barely on regular Twitter.
Black Twitter was like, what, 10 years ago?
I'm barely on regular.
Black Twitter's been... Wait, Jen, how long has Black Twitter been in effect? What, 5-10 years ago?
About 2 years ago, yeah.
5, yeah, okay.
I have a question though with Black Twitter. Is it messy? Is it messy? That's all I want to know.
I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know.
Jennifer, is Black Twitter messy?
Black Twitter's not. It can be messy, but the term when it came out with Black Twitter, it was because because Black people have been through so much that some things we don't take serious. Like if other cultures would take it serious, we as Black people sometimes because we laugh at our pain. Black people come down to slavery, we laugh at our pain. We always find humor in something to make. We find that rainbow, that silver lining in the rainbow.
Okay.
So or in that cloud. So Black Twitter is based on, it can be messy, but Black Twitter is a lot of fun. It's based on how we perceive stuff, and we just don't take stuff seriously. Like one time when they were talking about being a World War III, and drafting people. The Black people was making fun of how they gonna be in the draft, how we gonna be in the draft, and it was just so hilarious. And then they were like, they should have never gave us Black people internet, because we turned everything into a joke. Because like I said, we laugh at our pain. That's us as a culture. That's how we get through stuff. Where other cultures maybe, jump off a bridge, like if they lose their job or whatever, we laugh at it. At different things.
I think,
or when the submarine went into that. Tuna can, as I say, that tuna can, and that man had that Nintendo or PlayStation remote. But, we laughed, we find, it's like Black Twitter don't know how to act.
Well, I think with all that being said, even to circle back to circling back to the roles of traditional relationships, that's another thing with you talking about Black Twitter. See, so with you don't see a lot of other races do that on social media, come back on and talk about their relationships, their marriages, their husbands. If they do, they're probably just about giving praise on their other
they
partners.
Just don't say nothing. They keep it quiet.
I was going to say with the other cultures, there's more of a facade.
Yeah,
and it could be. It could be.
They're very quiet. They don't say what's going on. Now, Black Twitter, as far as that part, we're very messy. We're very vocal. We tear each other down, and that part of Black Twitter, I do not like.
So
other cultures are quiet with what goes on. They don't bash each other in public.
And I think that's what Bree was kind of gearing towards earlier, of talking about how we as a culture in our Black race, Black and brown, I'm saying more Black and brown, that we don't have a problem with going on social media bashing our significant others, talking about how we're the breadwinners and our man is crap, or because I don't really see a lot of Black men bash the women. I see more Black women bashing the Black men.
No, they do.
I mean, I don't see. I'm saying they do, but I don't see as much. I don't see as much.
I see both sides.
Get on Twitter.
I see both sides on Facebook. I have a lot of entertainers.
Oh my God.
Sorry. It's there, Lovey.
I guess my algorithm is different.
I need to get on your algorithm.
Yeah. They talk about it. They bash each other, and it makes me so mad.
Hey, Jen.
No, don't bash each other as a culture.
Jen, I agree. I need to get on Lovey's algorithm.
Yeah, get on my algorithm, honey. I don't get to see all that.
I got a lot of entertainers on my algorithm, and they are a hot mess. But anyways,
I get to see wigs and
all right, you guys, guess what? We are almost done with this show on marriage and today's role changes. I really appreciated both Lovey D and Jeff Real 100 and Devon Cooper, filmmaker out of Tennessee. We appreciate. He had to leave, you guys. He had to go film a movie real quick. That's how he does.
He had to get on set.
He had to get on set, baby. So we had to let him go. He didn't even have a chance to say goodbye, but he appreciated being on the show. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. We will definitely be resurfacing this topic again, because you can't just sum it up in 1 hour. And we have much more to say.
As always.
So anyways, We'll be right back. We're going to take a break. Please don't go anywhere, and we will be right back.
Yes.
All right, you guys, we are back. I hope you enjoyed this show on marriage and today's role changes. Of course, we had myself, Bizzy Brea, Jennifer 100, and Lovey D, and a special guest, Devon Cooper. We appreciate him coming on the show as well and giving his male perspective. As always, thanks for tuning into the show. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, be good, be great, and never stop being the best you that you were designed to be. This is your girl, Bizzy Brea, Lovey D, and Jennifer 100. And we will see you next time. Stay blessed.
For the latest in entertainment, culture, and sports, tune into Bizzy Brea's Hot Topics Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time on The Heat 97.3 FM and online at www.theheat973.com.